So when I left university, I really had not much of an idea about what I wanted to do with my life and all this kind of stuff. And I was really sort of had a split feeling about what I should do. On the one hand, I thought, it's time to settle down, get a job, just get a sort of regular career and stuff like that. But there was another part of me that just wanted to be really radical and really just push the boat out and do something really crazy. And over the past year or so, it's been really difficult to sort of reconcile those two things. For a while, I settled for the latter. I decided to get a normal job and just work in like an office as like a 9 to 5. So this is what I did for a while. And the reason I did that is because I thought at the end of the day, what other option do I have? At the end of the day, I have to do something. Right? I have to earn some money somehow. So I might as well. I need to, not all of my time is going to be spent doing some crazy side hustle that I'm really emotionally invested in. I need to work somewhere. I can work at a pub. I could work at a restaurant, or I could just work in an office. And there are some advantages to these various things, but it strikes me that I've got to work somewhere, and it's going to take some time. There was still a little bit of time to spend on the side hustles, and I sort of identified a side hustle after I moved to Oxford. I sort of sat down with myself, and I just thought, like, what do I really want to get done over the next few months? Like, what sort of passion projects could I do while still working at this job that I'm sort of tied down to? And I decided that I wanted to be like a travel vlogger, like a YouTuber. Like, I've just really fallen in love with the gritty sort of Boulder Bankrupt style of videos, and I'd made my own videos in the past, when I just went on holidays to random places, and I'd done a few videos here and there that they weren't very good, but I thought that's something that I could do a bit more of. So I decided, I'm going to do this job to the best of my abilities, and on the sides, on the weekends, on my leave or whatever, I'm gonna go off and make YouTube videos in various places that I want to film. And I had a whole list of videos that I wanted to film. I wanted to go to places that I was genuinely interested in, but obviously there was a constraint of money and time. So I tried to work out, what places in the UK could I film that I'm interested in, and then are there any feasible ones that I could squeeze into a little holiday, abroad, that wouldn't cost me a fortune. And I settled with a list of stuff to do. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do all of these videos. And it was Milton Keynes, Cornwall, Wales, Charleroi in Belgium, and then Cyprus. I'm actually about to get on the flight to Cyprus and complete that list today, so it's quite exciting. But anyway, I just did that, and in the meantime, I just got on with my life, attended to tasks at work, and on things went. But there was another side to this story. That there was a little bit of me that just felt bad for having like a normal job. I thought I wasn't optimizing my life with regards to this ambitious project of being a travel vlogger. I felt that, if I was working in a less formal job, like a restaurant or a bar or something, it would be more fun, and I would be able to clock up more hours to potentially earn more money. And also I would be able to take annual leave more easily. And it would be easier work as well. And there was a little bit of me that just bugged me all this time, saying, yeah, great, you're making this video every now and again, but you're not really optimizing this as much as you could be, and this really sort of gnawed at me. And I heard various dissenting voices. You know, I talked to some people about it, and you know, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, you're doing the right thing," but then a lot of other people, especially online, will, you know, that I'll watch their sort of YouTube videos and they'll be like, "No, you should get a really easy job and just go 100% in on the vlogging." And yeah, so I was very conflicted while I was doing this. And then something happens a couple months ago now. Because basically there was another side to the story. And that was that my job was going really badly. Like, I got it on a bit of a whim. And I wasn't really doing very well at it. It wasn't something I was actually that good at. I was working as like a tax accountant, basically, just doing people's tax returns. And it was really difficult for me, and I was really struggling. And this was obviously taking up a lot of time and energy as well. Anyway, one day I get called in, and they say to me, "Look, we're gonna stop your contracts." You know, I was on like a sort of 3-month contract or whatever. They were like, "Yeah, we're not gonna renew it. Sorry, you're just not where we want you to be." And this was obviously rather bad news, but it was actually quite a relief as well, because I felt like suddenly I had an opportunity to try this thing that I'd wanted to try all this time, of like working in a bar or a cafe or something. And so that's what I did. I ended up getting a job in a pub. And now I've been able to see two sides. I've been able to see life when I had a regular job and working on a side hustle, and life working on like a sort of fun job, and be able to fund your side hustle with that. And I've got to say, guys, I was right all along to work a normal job. I think there are people who feel a similar confliction to what I am talking about in this video. I would say just avoid, if you're above the age of 20, just avoid any hospitality job. I made a video before I got fired from that previous job, where I was basically trying to justify why I was working a normal 9 to 5 rather than like going all out and working in some hospitality job. And at the time, you know, I didn't have the other side to compare it to. But now I do. Now I do, because I've worked a hospitality job, and it's just the worst setup ever if you want to build something. And a few reasons why I'm just going to talk about in this video. So I've worked various hospitality jobs before, but they were when I was younger and I didn't have any expenses. I didn't have rent. I didn't have, you know, I wasn't completely reliant on my own income, right? And it's very, very different doing one in this scenario, because the thing that I didn't account for is just how boring a hospitality job is when you have to earn a certain amount of money every month in order to do it. It is just, I mean, it's just so boring working on a hospitality job. There's just nothing to do. And I've tried various things, you know, I've tried sort of meditating on my breaks, you know, I've tried, you know, finding ways to pass the time, whatever, talking to people, thinking of things while I'm working, you know, singing, whatever. And just, I'm not saying there's no way to make the time pass faster on a hospitality job, but it's certainly incredibly difficult, and it's almost worth not bothering. Like, the thing I've concluded with this job is like, it's just going to be deadly dull while I work there, and there's just nothing I can do about it, and the hours are just going to go by super slowly. And it's funny because I worked in this job before, this 9 to 5, and it was kind of boring, you know. And obviously there were difficulties with it. You know, it was more stressful, and there were often times where I didn't really know what to do with my time, like how to delegate my time, and I wasn't really given a lot of guidance. And those parts were quite boring. But generally speaking, when I had something to do, it wasn't thrilling, but it was really fine. Like the boredom of doing a tax return compared to the boredom of working in a pub is just, for me, with my kind of, maybe it's just my brain, whatever. I do think I've got a bit of a crazy mind that just needs to be stimulated all the time. But yeah, there's no comparison. Like I would much rather just do tax returns all day long than work at a bar just collecting plates and you know, cleaning pint glasses and stuff like that. There's just absolutely no comparison in my mind. Now, obviously, there are other complications there. You know, there were difficulties at work. I was struggling to do it. But that seems to be not inherent to the office life. That seems to be more to do with my personal situation and not being able to find an office job that I was good enough at, basically. So yeah, that's the first thing. It is just, believe it or not, it's just more interesting working in an office than in hospitality. The second thing I'll say is the people, and I said this in the video I made at the time, and I was absolutely right. The people who work in hospitality jobs, you'll get a few good apples here and there, but the vast majority of them I just don't like. It just attracts the wrong kind of people, these kind of jobs. Like, you get a few nice people who are like at uni and they're just having a fun time or whatever, or they're a bit younger and, you know, they're quite fun to be around. But the people who get stuck in these kind of hospitality jobs are just like the most like shit people to be around, basically. Like, they're just so unhappy and depressed to be in this kind of job, and that energy just really wears off on you, and it's really wearing. You know, the people I worked with in my office job, granted they weren't all super ambitious, super exciting people, you know, who were doing really interesting things. They were accountants, right? You know, no accountants, most accountants aren't like crazy interesting people, but I thought, like, at least they've gone out there and they're doing something that's relatively difficult. You know, they're using their intelligence relatively effectively. They have some intelligence to use in the first place. They've got the discipline to work a 9 to 5 hour schedule. You know, they're not, you know, so they can get themselves up in the morning. You know, fair play. You know. That's quite impressive. And yeah, it's just a lot better. Like I say, a lot of the guys at work, I didn't have much in common with them, but I had a lot more in common with them than I had with the people I work. A lot of the people that I work with in this hospitality job. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like, this is very rude of me to say, but like, the people I work with are just idiots. Like, they're just yeah, and I honestly feel like I'm just alone in this. I've got this brain with all these thoughts, and I've just a bunch of idiots just all around me that I just can't communicate with. And it's really wearing. And that's how I'm trying to fund these side projects of like vlogging. Like I say, I'm about to get on the plane to Cyprus. And it's funny because I've realised, like, this just isn't working. Like, I don't know how I'm gonna bring myself to work enough hours to fund a future vlog somewhere else, whether that's in the UK or abroad, and pay rent and stay sane. Like, I just don't see how I can do it. But I can see how I could do it if I was working a job that I didn't hate. And it's funny because like obviously there's a lot of things I've got to think about, but let's say in principle, if I just put enough hours into this vlog, it would work out and I would be able to make all my money off just traveling around the world doing vlogs. Not necessarily going to happen, and it's not necessarily what I want to happen. You know, there's a lot of complicated stuff there, but let's just say in principle that's what's going on here. I still think, some people might say, oh, just firm it with this pub job until the YouTube kicks off, right? But I just don't think that's what I should do. There's a quote from Shakespeare where someone says, it's better to be keen and cuss a little than to completely fall over, or something like that. Like, it's from Measure for Measure, and like the point is not wrong to like divert the journey a little bit if it means you're not going to completely burn out long term. And I just think that's what's going to happen with this pub job if I continue for another 6 months, let's say, God forbid. I'm going to burn out, and I'm going to be wildly unhappy and depressed, and I can just see if I got an office job, granted maybe one that I'm better suited to, I would be able to balance all these other things, this commitment of doing travel vlogs. I'll be a lot happier, I'll be around people who I have a lot more in common with, and my mental health would just be better. And I think in this case, that's what I should do. I shouldn't just double down on this pub job. That's my take on this, guys. Obviously, it's a bit different to what I feel like a lot of people like Hamza would say. But increasingly, I just think all of us just have really different lives and very different setups, and I can see how someone in Hamza's life situation would take the action he's taken. I just think my situation is a bit different. And I might be wrong. I'm sure he'd call me a Jeffrey or whatever for saying that, but I just think I was right originally. Like, I was right to be a bit wary about getting back into a hospitality role after university. Like, it just sucks. And like I say, there were problems with the office that I was working at, and in some sense, I'm happy not to have the stress of not being able to do my job. But in my previous job where I was just really stressed out because I couldn't do anything. But I've traded so much, I've sacrificed so much for that to be the case in this job at the moment. So that's basically what I think, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'd love to know your view, particularly if you're like an older guy and you think I'm wrong, because I like a debate. So let me know. But thanks for watching, guys. It's been a pleasure, and I'll see you guys soon. If you're interested, I am doing some online coaching at the moment, just on the sides. So if you're interested in some guidance, particularly if you're a younger guy, about how to set up your life and you want someone who's maybe tried things out that can advise you, book a free call below, and look forward to hearing from you. But apart from that, guys, see you in the next one. Cheers.